Hey everybody, how are you? Oh my gosh, I've had some great client conversations and I just wanted to talk to you about something I've been thinking about quite a bit, and it has come up in so many conversations about food and quote kind of falling off the wagon. Well, we have holidays all the time. It was just the 4th of July. And thinking about what makes us make the food choices that we make. Like, why do we choose the foods that we do, even though we know that we have these goals that we want to reach? And sometimes the choices that we make, or maybe more than sometimes, the choices that we make aren't necessarily bringing us closer to our goals, right? Sometimes they're leading us a bit farther away from our goals. And then we get so frustrated and we get, disappointed and feel guilty and all those things. And I deal with this all the time, not just with my clients, but with myself, because sometimes I make those choices too. But over time, we can minimize those choices that we make. We can maximize our thought process around reaching our goals and why we're doing that. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how I talk with my clients about this. I just had a great conversation with one of my wonderful clients yesterday. We've been together for a long time, and we're digging really kind of deeply right now into why she's doing what she's doing. Like, why does she have these goals? What are the reasons that she wants to get to where she wants to get to? And when things come up and she makes those choices that don't move her in that direction, or she gets overwhelmed with the work that it takes, how can we kind of change her mindset about it? How can we change the conversations she's having with herself in her head? Because we all have conversations with ourselves all day long. All day long, we're having conversations. Now, we need to tune in and listen to those conversations and decide if they are helping us or hindering us, right? So yesterday we were talking, and I brought up something really interesting that I've been thinking about, and for me, it's very interesting. This is the first year that I have created my own garden, right? I'm super excited. I don't know if you've seen the pictures. I have zucchini already. Today I used some of my spinach from my garden, but this is the first time I've ever, had a garden, and everybody has these high hopes for it, and I was just praying that at least one thing would grow. So I have succeeded. Anyway, but then I think about, why is it so difficult for us nowadays to make the choices in our food that is going to help us be healthier, be happier, and if we want, change our body composition, right? And there's so many things out there. I mean, oh my gosh, just turn the television on and you can see advertisements for lots and lots of ways that people have created to help you get healthier, right? Lose the weight, do all the things, take this pill, whatever. And I think back and I say, you know why I think it's so hard for us nowadays to actually make good food choices? And it's not just hard to make food choices. Let me back up a little bit. It's our thought process around food. A lot of times I hear people say, why does it have to be so hard? I just want it to be easy. I just want to be able to eat what I want to eat, and why can't that work for me? Well, it doesn't. And it's interesting. I think back to, we could go all the way back to the days of being hunter-gatherers, right? Where we had to, every day, we had to hunt and we had to gather. We had to hunt for our food, we had to gather for our food, we had to make the food, and kind of like we do with s'mores now, but not with s'mores, with like real food. Back in the day, or even if we go back even a little closer in history to the time where we were an agricultural society, right? Pre-industrial revolution, so pre-1900s, where most of society was on the farm and they were having to grow and harvest and make all of their food, right? And so I think about it, and I think we kind of come from two camps. Some people find it very difficult to make food choices that are going to get them where they want to go. Some people find it more difficult to, I guess there's three camps. Some people find it more difficult to get the exercise, the movement that they need. And some people are kind of like, I got nothing, help me out with everything, right? So back in the day, We didn't even think about exercise. There was no 24-hour fitness, no Planet Fitness, no Snap or Anytime. And nobody was buying running shoes and going out running in the agricultural society. Why? Because they didn't even think about doing any of that, because they went outside every day. They had to grow, they had to harvest, they had to do all the things. They had to like milk the cows and, clean the barn and put the hay out. And get the eggs from the chickens. They were constantly moving. So they didn't have to think about that. What was the hard part for them? The hard part for them was, I'm stressed about the weather because we got to get the crops. Why do the crops have to, why do we have to have the right crops? Well, because we have to feed ourselves and we have to feed the animals. And then once the crops grow, we have to go harvest them. Great. So we're getting our movement in. But then what? Then we have to cook them all, and we don't have a microwave. And right? So it was, stoke the fire, cook it correctly. Maybe you're boiling it. Maybe you're just, I don't know exactly how they cooked everything, but I know it was difficult. And they were also eating everything that they made. Or you could still purchase things, right? Like flour, but you could make your own flour. But there wasn't this plethora of really pretty boxed, processed foods for them to go to the store and buy all of that. No. They were creating their own food. They were making their own food. Literally from the ground, making their own food every day. So that was hard for them. However, what wasn't hard is what we find hard now, right? What wasn't hard for them was they were getting foods that nourished them, vitamins and nutrients. They had lots of protein. They had food that their body knew what to do with, knew how to break down, knew how to use. It was using everything, right? Now, what's hard for us is we have this plethora, like I said, of things to choose from. And in our society, the people who have created our food that you get in the boxes and things that they advertise so well for, right? And all the time, they have created highly palatable foods, which means it's very tasty, very easy to chew. However, and it kind of goes through our digestive system pretty quickly most times because there's not a lot of fiber in it. So it's very easy for that. Also, though, our body doesn't necessarily know what to do with all the garbage that's in it. And I say garbage lovingly, right? There's lots of things that they put into these or they strip out that we need or we don't. So we're not eating whole foods all the time. We are eating a lot of processed foods where they've stripped out the good stuff and put in some junk, honestly, that our bodies don't necessarily know how to do anything with. And they've made it so that our brains go, oh my God, that tastes so good. And then we get a dopamine hit and our brains tell us, I need to have that cookie. I need to have that donut. And then when we can't have it because we have goals and we want to look a certain way, we want to feel better, right? It always health first. We want to feel better because if we have extra weight on us, that's because we're not healthy on the inside, right? So then we're like, oh, why do I have to eat the potato? Why do I have to have the veggies? Why do I have to eat the fruit? Why can't I just have cake every day? And then we get bummed out. And then we say, why is it so hard? Why does it have to be this way? We've put ourselves in this position. And maybe personally, right? Like I didn't choose, like I'm not out there making all that food, right? But in our society now, what we've done is we've said, we've taken away how easy it is to get movement in. So now everybody's like, oh, of course I have to go to the gym. Okay. Or of course I have to go out and take a walk. And that's not necessarily easy for some people either. We've also, though, made it more difficult to get food that nourishes us. And we haven't necessarily made it that difficult in terms of like the cost of it's not any more crazy than the cost of other food right now. I'm here to tell you, I go to the store every week. Okay. It's not the cost of it. Right? You can pay $6.20 for a small box of cereal, and I can get a bag of 10 pounds of potatoes for $3.20. It's not necessarily the cost that makes it difficult. It's the perception of the food and what we have attached to that food, and we don't want it to be work. We don't want it to be work. We don't want it to be hard. And that changeover, that transition from eating that kind of food to eating more whole foods that are going to nourish you, give you those vitamins and nutrients and get all that protein in, that's a tough transition. It's a tough one because your brain is going to fight you all the way, and it's going to keep telling you, and your emotions are going to be involved in it. I really want to eat just like everybody else. But are you just like everybody else? Do you really want to be just like everybody else? Because everybody I talk to wants to be the best version of themselves. Everybody I talk to wants to be the best version of themselves. And that takes work every day. It takes work every day to be the best version of yourself. It happens in every aspect of your life. So why not? Why shouldn't it be a bit of work to eat well and be healthy? It should be. Because here's the thing, what we know is if you don't choose it now, it will choose you later. Choose health now so that later on you don't have to struggle and be on all the medications and deal with all that garbage and go to the doctor all the time. Think about it. It's all our perception. And it's not easy. And that's why it takes help sometimes. So think about that. It's not supposed to be easy, my friends, but you can make those good choices, and it doesn't have to be all the time. You don't have to be perfect. I hope you're having a great day.